Okay, so this is our second UI challenge review, and we're not going to go through every beginner question because most of you are getting the majority of the beginner questions right. We're just going to focus on question 2 and 4, and then we'll probably do 5 at the end just to finish off the beginner, and then we'll try and go through all of the intermediate questions if we get time. So, yep, I'm going to just skip that one. And then hello from the 90s. In fact, let me just grab, is that the intermediate code? Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to grab your code actually, didn't I? So that'll take a little while to load. All right, anyway. So can you remember what you did? Ewan, or? So in up here, you would have done a label, fantastic. And closed it as well, obviously. And then inside, you've done hello from the 90s, yeah? Hello from the 90s. So it says, can you please display some text using a serif font with a size of 40 pixels? So you'd have done a font family serif. Oops, no, serif. And you'd have also done a font size of 40 pixels. And then you would have submitted that. Okay. And that would have been correct. So we need to definitely check your code and see where you went wrong. It's obviously just a silly error. You know how to do it. So you all got the first question correct. Let's just see if there are any big differences. So some were giving your unordered list a specific class. Others were just styling the unordered list directly. In fact, it wasn't even needed styling, was it? On the unordered list? No. So I guess it makes sense if you want to style it later. But all that was really needed to be styled was the H3, right? Yeah, so everyone's solution general. I like that Aeneas has put that colour of white in there. I know it seems to default to white, that one, but usually things default to black, right? Unless you're on a dark theme, I guess, which would have been implied there. But yeah. And everyone else done the same. So where did Ewan go wrong? Font family serif, font size. Yeah, look. Just your typo. We've got label rather than label. Rhymes with table. Yeah. Yeah, Porrick spotted it straight away, but yep. So nothing wrong with your CSS, just one of those annoying little typos. Question 3, we're not going to go through either. So some of you put the padding on the div, others directly on the H1. Okay. Yeah, and most people use the shorthand. So the shortest shorthand was just doing a top and a bottom and then a left and a right. Some people have used 4 separate pixel values for the top, right, bottom and left. But you could have just done top and bottom, left and right, like that. Yeah, and then, or you could have explicitly, if you think that you're going to change them individually later, declared them like Ewan's done as well. So no wrong or right answer there. Yeah, just preference. and use the shorthand that you most prefer. Okay, we are going to go through question 4, the to-do list one, because I think caused a few issues with some people, not much. So we can skip that one, skip that one. So we've already got the HTML written for us this time, which means we can't misspell div or label. Then we've got a padding bottom already declared for us, but we also want a dotted border to be added with its size for 20 pixels and its color to be red. So in the CSS then, we're just going to write border, I imagine, yeah? And what values do I need to give in my border? What order do they come in? Size, style, and color. Nice. So in other words, I'm going to do 20 pixels first, yeah?
No.
Huh? No?
I done the same thing and it's going to come out wrong. Yeah. It's the way that the question's worded. It's actually, it wants the font to be size 20, but the border will just be dotted and red. Yeah.
Yep. So we want font size to be 20 pixels, yeah? And then we want a border. And what values am I going to give the border then?
It just accepts dotted and red. It should be any.
What's up?
I think it specifies border size, right?
The border size. So it should just be a default border size then, right?
I think that's the one that I initially go wrong because of the...
Yeah. Yeah, because we've used border there, and then title, so the 20 pixels is referring to the title as opposed to the border. Yeah, in that case, but yeah, I agree, maybe a little bit of a confusingly worded sentence. Okay, so will that work? No. To the bottom, yep. Cool. So let's have a look, see if everyone got that question correct. Ooh. That's Abdul score. So Ewan again, yep. So font size. So you put a 3 pixels in there.
No, you got rid of the padding bottom part, which was there by default.
Got rid of what, sorry, Richard?
There's a line that's padding bottom 5 pixels, that's automatically...
Oh yeah, you got rid of padding bottom. So that was already set for you. So if some code is already there by default, try not to... Oh, if I can't see the screen... Hopefully you can see now, guys, yeah? Yeah, on the Meet. Let me just connect you to the bigger speaker so I can hear you. Yep, so you can hear now. Oh, hear and see Nilofer now, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yep.
I can see.
We can definitely hear you. I'll turn you down slightly. Fantastic. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, we were just going through beginner. Yeah, I'm now streaming, so I can't really look at Ricardo's reply, but hopefully you sorted out your score for it, yeah, and we can sort that out later. So we were on. Yep. So just leave the default padding there if one has been specified. Yeah, I think that was the only issue. Cool. And the last question. Yeah, so it's just Aeneas's difference with the color, yeah, but we can have a look at that now. Okay. Yeah, so it's asking for cerulean, so Ricardo's just naming that colour cerulean, but if you see that he's specified the RGB value there of 0, 170 and 239, so in other words we can use that. And what property are we setting to that RGB value? Background colour, yeah. So we can just write RGB 0, 170, 239. Cool. And then he's obviously talking about RGBA is another way that we can give an alpha value as a fourth property. That's what he's hinting at in the future, yeah. But for now we can just use RGB. Okay, and then we've actually got to write our text this time. I can't copy and paste that. Annoying, hey? If you like RGB, comma, wait 2C. Yeah, wait until you see, wait 2C, yeah. RGBA. What should we wrap that in? Does it specify just a div then? Yeah? Huh? Wouldn't it be on CSS? Oh, body, yep. Make sure you close your tag. Anything else we need to do? No? No, the colour's default white, is it? Okay. Yep. Fair enough. So that was literally all you had to do in ASCS. So if we look at the colour that you used, nope, that's a different one. Here. So you used a hex color, yeah? I think if we change it to make it equivalent, then it will work. So it's going to be 0, 0, A. Ooh, is it going to be A or is it going to be? Yeah, it's still going to be A. AA, is it? AA is 170, is that right? Okay. And then 239. Oh, is going to be. What did you had originally? You had D, didn't you? So that's going to be. Oh Christ. 224 plus another 13. So you got something, but that's going to be closer, right? Let's try that.
I don't think it's about the value though. I think Paul is right. I think it's about the fact that it's expecting
RGB.
It should be fine.
I don't think it was.
Because I got exactly the same background color.
Maybe to your eyes, but it wasn't the same color.
Quickly open up the link.
We can indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
See.
So it's probably, yeah, the fact that you used a hex.
I don't think it's because of the hex.
Where is the link?
Link is on the paragraph.
Off the website.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
I was looking for a clickable thing. Yeah.
So if you look up cerulean, you'll select color.
This will convert it to me for me as well, so we can use the exact hex value.
But it won't be correct.
No, but we've got a converter, right? We can put in a manual one.
It's a 0088EF instead of the
0088EF. So it wasn't D, it was EF.
See.
Yeah, keep going. Oh, there's lots of colours, right? Yeah, so that's clearly different there. And then you said 0, 0, A, A, E, F. So it's approximately cerulean. So let's try and see if, no, wrong one again. We can actually use a hex if it's exactly the same. Yeah, okay, so the issue wasn't using a hex or not using hex, it was we need the exact value to be 170, 0, 170, 239, yeah? And the direct translation of that is that. But to make it easier for you, as Ricardo has specified a value, RGB, just use those values, right? 170, so no, 0, 170. Oh wow, that'll get me interested. Oh wow, look, I can do some really weird things when I press strange buttons on my keyboard. Yeah, so just use those values and that will be absolutely fine. So you'll get that one next time. I think everyone will get that one next time. Fantastic. Vince, do you want to start us off with some intermediate grids? Do you want to come over here? Have I lost it again?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I've only got the beginner one. I thought I had these opening tabs already, but I've obviously clicked around and we have to wait now for the challenges to load again. I think it's doing something. Is it doing something?
I will just go to the training ones.
Yeah, we could do it that way actually,
Yeah,
couldn't we?
let's make it simple.
Because we know what topics they're on. So let's go UI,
I'm not sure about the order though.
intermediate, grid. Yeah, I've got the order.
Yeah, that's one.
So that's the first one. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning everyone. For this question, it's based on grid. So let's read the question. So it's asking us to create a 2-column layout using grid. So first of all, let's start with the skeleton. So let me create a container. I'll give it a class. Oh shoot. Container. And then I will create, how many boxes are there? There's 5, so I will create 5 items.
You can copy and paste that, definitely.
Yeah.
Just noticed that in the evaluation analysis,
So grid.
it still kept all my answers. So all your green answers are there, right?
So I might as well copy it and paste. Grid can be very tricky. So that's it, that's the skeleton. Now, let's have a look. So let's start with the container. So first and foremost, we must specify the display grid, otherwise it won't work. And what else? So yeah, so boxes are painted with lime, so we don't want to paint the container, we want to paint the individual item. So we use background color. line. What's next? Black text. So we have to color the text black. And with an internal gutter of 20 pixels, so that means padding. We need to specify padding with 20 pixels. And the gap between them is set to 10 pixels, meaning we need to use grid gap for row and column. So 10 pixels. Right. Because we need to.
What else do we need, guys?
Sorry.
What else do we need?
Yeah. What else do we
Yeah.
need? Yeah.
So grid template columns, you say for it, yeah?
Yeah. Grid. Well done. So grid template columns. What's FR stands for? Yeah. Well done. Right. Will this work? What else am I missing? Anything?
No.
Yeah. Happy? Cool. Let's run it. Voila.
Before we move on, I have one question or one spanner in the works. If
Shall I move?
yeah, go on, let's swap quickly. So if, for example, instead of all of these divs, we add other elements like a paragraph, for example, would it still work in that case, or would something different be happening?
Still work because it's basing it on classes.
What about default behavior of paragraphs? Let's run it and see what happens. Ooh. Yeah, so we've got some extra spacing in there because we've set these things as paragraphs, and by default, paragraphs have some margin. Yeah, the browser puts certain elements, it gives extra properties. So paragraph is one of those. We'll give some extra margin to some paragraphs. So, yeah, I mean, you could either do a browser reset, or in this case, we would have had to add something like margin 0 just on our paragraph elements, and then that still works. Yeah, so just be aware that if you're using not divs or sections or some other unstyled elements, then you might need to just use some resets like that. Yeah, or do your box sizing as well. Possibly you might need on certain elements to change that, but yeah, other than that, all good, fantastic. So I think the next two are flex, right? So I can do those ones, and then yeah, you just stay there, Vince, and then Vince will finish off the grid ones later on. Oops, yep. So let's get Vince set up on those ones, which is going to be that one next. And if we go to Flex 2, so some new challenges here. Some of you might not have played with it yet. Then, yeah, we had, let's say, 5 different sections. And we had an align right. We had a space around. So they're conveniently named, these sections, right? What do these correspond to, these names? Space around, space between. Do you recognize those sorts of things? No? Yeah, so they can be used for various different values of our CSS properties, but yeah, some of them are definitely justify content. And is that what we're using in this case? We will have a look in a second. And center, right? Okay. So that was all we were given on the HTML, just that top one of a header. But then we also want to have these containers, right, with A, B, and C inside. So what am I going to put them in?
Div.
Div? Yeah, div works. Thanks, Nalofa. And how many of those we're going to need? One for each section, yeah? So let's stick those in. Should have done that first, it would have been easier. And inside of them, are we just having A, B, and C? How am I writing it?
3 divs item.
Three more divs, you're saying? Yeah? With a class of item, nice. Before I copy and paste this lot, do I need anything else? So should we put our A, B's and C's inside here? So I'm just going to write it in there. So we've got an A. This is where I really need Ricardo's zoom to zoom on a certain section. So we've got an A. A B and a C. My outer div, does that have any class name?
Container.
So this one has container, yeah?
Maybe row as well. Row container. Yeah,
Oh, so we call it container just because we've already got some CSS called container that has set a display flex for us and a margin bottom. So you can see that it looks like there's a margin bottom here, and flex would easily help us achieve this sort of layout. Yeah, things aligned to the left or things aligned all the way to the right. Space around, space between. These are properties that we can give to flex containers. Yeah, so it makes sense to include all of our A, B, and C divs inside of a flex container. Yeah, but yeah, Vince is quite right. We could have called it row or a different name. Would you prefer that? Yeah, fine. Let's call it row, and then we'll call that row as well. Yeah. Okay. Is that now set up for my whole row? I think it is, right? So let's duplicate that for my space around, my space between. I must have missed one somewhere. So we got center, space between, space around, a line right, the line left one we haven't done right at the top, yeah? Okay, hopefully that is now my CSS done, right? Sorry, not my CSS, my HTML done. Do we need to do anything else to the row?
Yes.
Yeah, what?
I mean, a lot of people did it different to how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it a second class, but I gave it an ID.
Okay. So you gave your row a separate ID.
Yes, so
Okay.
like align left, class container, and then ID left. But a lot of people just start container space align left or left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to probably go with a class name in this case, just because we might reuse that style, right? Align left or align right throughout our application. So if I want to use a class then, where would I write that inside a row, or am I going to do a separate separate class down here then. So what class did you use? Like align left or something, yeah? Did you have all separate ones like that for each section? Yeah? Align right. I think Richard just used abbreviated names, right? Space around, which makes sense. Space around. Space between. And the last one we could have center, yeah? Is that generally what people did, or did you do something different?
That's what they did.
Just what they did. Okay, I'll look at the code in a second. So apart from Porrick, who did IDs, but you had ID center, ID space around, all those sorts of things?
ID left, right, around, between, centre.
Okay, so same principle, yeah? You just used an ID rather than a...
I'm just surprised the people which did class are not saying anything.
Okay, so then to align it to the left, what CSS property am I going to use?
Justify content.
Justify content, because we're inside of a flex container and we want to align it on the what axis? On the x-axis, yeah? Across. We want to align it horizontally, and by default our flex direction is row, yeah? If we had flex direction column and we use justify content, it's going to justify things on the other axis, yeah? So that's why we've got two properties that we can play around with: justify content and align items. One does one axis, one does the other. In this case, yep, justify content is the one we want. So what do I put? Do I put left?
Flex.
Flex start, exactly. And align right would not be flex start, it would be flex end. Oh, I need that as well. What other ones have we got then? These ones are a bit easier named. Space around, what value do we need in space around? Space around, right? Space between, we need, let's guess, 1, 2, 3. Space between. You're very quiet today. For the center we need
Middle. No, center.
middle. Middle. No, center.
For these left and right, I actually put it left and right, and I was actually surprised that left worked for right.
Left worked. Oh yeah, because it just ignored the value. Yeah. Okay. How are we doing? We have set a flex container for each of these sections. So do I put it on the row? Do I put it on the item? Where does it go?
On the row.
On the row, yeah? Yep. So for the top one, we need a line left, yeah? For the one that says align right, we need align right. For the one that says space around, we need space around. Where am I? I've lost where I am. Where's my cursor gone? Space around, hyphenated, yeah. For this one we need space between. And for the last one we need middle, right Vince? Or have I skipped one again? Ah,
No.
I've skipped one again. Middle, is it, Vince? Centre.
Centre, yeah.
Centre, definitely centre. Okay, so I missed my space around out, didn't I? Row and space around. Have I done it again? I keep no, I don't know. It keeps skipping off the section that I'm on. Anyway, I think we're looking pretty good now. Is it time to run it yet?
Background color.
Background colour, good shout.
Nice.
On what section? On the row? On the items?
Items.
Yeah. So where's my item CSS gone? Right at the bottom. So far we've got a colour of black, a padding of 10 pixels and a margin of 5 pixels. And you're saying background colour of what's, oh, aqua, yeah? Aqua. Anything else? Yeah, it's just my copy and pasting, right? So I guess you can't copy and paste too much at once, and it is going to penalise you. Or did you get that before? No?
It didn't penalise me.
Yeah.
Well, someone just messaged you, but
Eh?
it just brought that up, but it
Basically, yeah. But it's okay, it's fine.
Let's run it, shall we? See if we're close yet. We're perfect. Oh no, we're not quite perfect. CSS, line 19, 31, expected a trailing comma. Did I miss a semicolon again? Really? Just the one though, I'm quite impressed with that. There we go.
Nice.
So I wouldn't have got Vince's 100%, but... Okay, good. Any questions on that apart from that's a hell of a lot of markup to write for one question?
Yeah, it is crazy.
But we get the general principle, yeah? Alright, moving on. Oh, this is even more markup, isn't it? But at least we've got this one that we can copy and paste a bit to begin with. So how many containers do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? Okay. Are they always the same? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes, so that's always the same. Good. Always with the line breaks. Okay. What is different? What do we need to specify that is different? It says, could you please align some boxes on the vertical axis this time, according to top, bottom, center, and stretch? How am I going to do that?
Display flex flow direction, flex direction columns.
So we've had a suggestion of display flex. I'll put it inside of a wrapper shortly when we decide out where to put it. So display flex, and you said a flex direction as well? Or
Flex direction column.
flex direction column, okay.
Columns or column?
Columns. I think. No, columns right here. Column. Yeah, column.
And what did you want to apply those properties to?
Dot container.
Dot container. Uh-huh. Okay. What will that do so far, guys?
wouldn't have pushed them all down to one column rather than 3.
So at the moment, have we got things in columns or in rows?
So,
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure why you wanted flex direction column and F.
But the numbers,
to-
the numbers are in row.
What?
But the numbers are in row though.
So we've got 4 separate containers,
Mm.
and they've got that, that, and that. So if I run it now,
Oh, right, yeah.
we can
Got it.
see that it just sticks everything
Yeah.
in one
So
column.
it's-
So
yeah,
we,
it's row, not column.
yeah, so the default is row. So at the moment we've got that, which We're halfway there, right? It's in rows, but they're all sized the same, and they're not aligned where we want them to be, so that we're not stretching it across to the full width, and we're not aligning them to the top or to the bottom or to the center or stretching them in any way. So that's what we've got to change next. We've already got a background color of yellow. Yeah, so what's my next property? How do we align things on the cross axis and not on the row in this case, but how do we align things on the vertical axis in this case? A lot of you used it, right?
Align items.
Align items, yeah, it's the name of the challenge, right? Align items is our other property. Does that go in the container? No? In the item
No.
itself?
No.
Where does it go, guys? In the container or in the items?
In the container.
In the container, yeah. So we've got similar things in the items, like align self, yeah. But in this case, we want to group them all to the top or all to the bottom. So we can do align items. Not in class container, why not? We've got 4 separate containers, and we want it to apply to all 3 items, right?
So what Porritt is saying, so what Porritt is saying, each container
Mm-hmm.
should have a different class. So for the first container, it should be top or flex start, whatever. The second should be, which is bottom, should be flex end.
Fair enough. You want to.
That kind of thing.
You don't want to repeat display flex, so you're going to leave it in the container. Yeah, it's just display flex on its own, and then you're having a top class, yeah, and then a bottom, and so forth. Okay, yeah, understood. And in that, we want to do align items
That's it.
to top, or what's the value? Flex start, yeah. And then the other ones, we want bottom, flex end, yeah. So a similar flow to the last one, right?
What got me on this was, the last one was justify contents.
So the stretch, what do we use, you're saying? Can we still say stretch? Yeah?
But I meant in the last question, was it justify content?
Well, the last grid question on the... Yeah, we'll do that when we get to it. Yeah, let's not confuse things. So we've got all those now, and then you want to set them up here as a second class name, yeah? So the first one was top. The second one was... Oops, bottom. Third one we called center. And the fourth one we called stretch. Okay. Are we good? Yeah, just a space inside the same quotes. Yeah, you can have as many class names as you want. Yeah, absolutely.
There's one thing missing, guys.
Where? What, you mean like a flex direction? The default's row, so we'll be okay without that. Where do you want me to go? Up, down?
Well, submit it anyway.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then it'll figure out.
So you should be able to see after we submit it what's missing.
Yeah. I think the logo should know this.
So then Loafer, did you mention something earlier about? No?
No. It should be flex wrap.
Flex wrap.
Flex grow.
Yeah, I think we need a grow in the horizontal, right? We need to. It's 100. Will that work?
What, 100% did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah, that should work, yeah.
Width. Oh, in items. In items. Hang on.
Yeah, so container, I don't think that would work. However, if you focus on the item, did you say width or did you say flex grow? Width.
Yeah, width is equal to 100%.
Yeah, but
Mm,
I don't think that would work because it will go over.
this is what you're suggesting.
I don't think it's going to work. No. No, because it will also apply to.
I know that could just be the styles being missed off on centre, or I've spelt centre wrong, right? Centre.
You're right, it's fine.
Or I might have done one English spelling and one American spelling. No, I've done both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've still got flex start. So in other words, we need centre, right? Okay, so it does work.
Interesting.
I mean, I'd love to know about how you did it. If you went a different way from
No. It's okay. It's the
Did
same.
you just do flex one in there?
Yeah, it's flex one.
Yeah.
Which is.
What does the one do?
So you'll take out all of the remaining space. One.
Yeah, flex 2 and 3.
So if you do flex 4, so for item, you put flex 1 to item 1, flex and 2 for item 2. So it will be so basically 1 will shrink and 2 will take the remaining space.
Yeah,
Does it make sense?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, so we had a few options we could use there. We could have used flex 1, width 100%, flex grow 1. All those things will work, right? Cool. Yeah, any questions on that?
But you can't use flex grow 1 in other, like you can't use it in container.
No, so,
You can't use it more than once.
well, you have a parent and a child. So you have properties that apply to the parent and properties that apply to the child. So display flex goes on the whole container on the outside, and then those inner items, they're the ones that receive the property of flex with an
Yeah, good point. But like on the child in this example.
in this example, yeah. Well, no, always. I mean, it always has to be on the child. Flex. You could, if you put flex on the container, it doesn't make any sense unless the container itself has a parent that is also flex. Do you remember that CSS guide that we sent you? Guide to flex box, that one. So you've got, on the left hand side, we've got properties that we apply to the flex container, the parent, and on the right hand side you've got properties that you apply to the children, to the items inside of the flex container. So display, for example, goes on the container, and then if you scroll down you're not going to see flex on the left hand side, you're only going to see it on the right hand side there. Yeah, so that's just a shorthand, as it says, for flex grow, flex shrink and flex basis all combined. But there's no flex on the container. Yeah. So you're going to have to learn which ones to apply to the container and which ones to apply to the children. Alright. Do you want to take back over? Oh, sorry, go on.
So
No.
container is basically like an environment provided for the children. So the children does all the work. Yeah.
The children get the orders, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, sure.
Vince, do you want to take over for the grid ones again?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Ooh, what happened? There we go. Right, this one, I think everyone struggled, right? Porrick, did you struggle with this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. So this question is based on grid. So first of all, let's do the skeleton first. So I want to create a div with the class container or row, whichever you like. So container, and I want to also create an item inside the container. That's it. Right, let's copy this. Right, let's change that to item. And in the box, it says I'm centered. So let's do that. So that's it for the skeleton. So now let's move on to container. So what's missing in the container?
Display grid.
Nice one. Anything else? That's it? Cool. So let's display a centered box XY axis with an internal gutter of 30 pixels and olive background. So internal gutter, what's that?
Padding, yeah.
Yep, so is that for container or item? What's next?
Grid area.
Background color.
Yeah? Is it olive, isn't it? Olive. Right, so because there's a grid template areas specifying centered box, I need to give the item a name. So grid area, I can give it any name. I can call it Beyonce if I want, but let's call it centered box. Ooh, what happened?
So that name must just match whatever you've got in the grid template areas, yeah? Otherwise it won't.
Right.
Organise.
That's cool. So now we're going to focus on the box in the middle. Because it's in the center, we must specify where to allocate this box horizontally and vertically. So what's horizontal? What do I need to?
Align cell.
Yeah. Align what? Sorry. What do you say?
Sorry, self-align.
Self-align or align self?
Lofa?
Center. Yeah, center.
Is it? Are you sure? It's a green line.
It's align self.
Yeah.
I get confused actually.
No, that's cool. That's well done. And what's next?
This is for the item.
So in align cell, that's horizontal.
Yeah.
What's vertical? Nice one.
Justified cell.
Nice one.
Justified cell.
Yeah. What center?
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So what's next?
Text.
Text what?
Text align.
Cool. Oh, okay. I just gave out the answer.
That's fine, but everything's centered, right?
Yeah. All right. So text align. All right. So center. Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I submit it?
No.
No. Nah. Well done. So if I get rid of justify self. Oh, still works. Why's that? Alright, let's. Oh, still works. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. It shouldn't work. But okay.
Is that because of your template areas?
Possibly, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Alright. So that's right, that's fine then.
Take the other one off to
Yeah, just to show the guy, yeah, that's exactly. It shouldn't work.
Now where do you expect it to be before we hit the button?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you've taken off. So we've got some sound effects.
That's
Or
so
so go to the top, yeah?
it'll just have a massive bar in the middle from top to bottom.
Okay, shall I tell it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so, okay, fine.
Because that's what I had for so long.
Okay, yeah. So it's still centered on the horizontal, but it's not centered on the vertical. Yeah, it's been stretched.
Okay, cool. So it works either way. Nice.
Huh?
What did you say?
So you can just use align self for this case, so that's fine, yeah. But
Or you could do items anyway.
okay. Next one.
Yeah, we've got one more of me. Yep, fantastic.
Which one's that? I forgot. Is it this one?
I believe it was that one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with, let's do this one. Create a layout for our portfolio. So we need to, so it's grid again. So here's the skeleton that's done for us already. So let's move on to container.
So just looking at that diagram, how many rows and columns do you think it would need? 3 by 3. That's the minimum we need, yeah? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. So if you go below, ooh, how do you use your mouse? Okay. It's specified each class a grid area name. What's missing, guys?
The footer.
And what else?
Aside.
Aside. So let's give them these two classes a name. So we can call it aside. So grid area. What do we want to call it? Aside?
Why not?
Yeah. And footer. Let's call it footer. Anything else?
Have they been specified in your code above, in your grid template areas, or not yet?
Yeah. So it's all.
Oh, it's all done by that.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's all.
Or
It's all.
have we
Just need
got
one more to do.
template?
Yeah. Just.
yeah.
So for this case, we want to manually allocate each item to this to the container. So we can use, well, we have to use grid template areas. So for the first row, what do we need to do? Yeah, so because there's 3 columns, we need to use 3 headers. So that's the first row. What's the second row? Say again? Yeah, so, okay. Yeah. So sidebar, main, and a side. Is that right? That's the second row. So what's the third row?
Side.
Yeah? What are you saying, Nilofer?
Sidebar, footer.
Nice one. Alright. Anything else? That's it? Yeah? That's it. Yeah? I'll submit it, yeah? Cool.
Go for it.
Yay.
Confetti time.
Alright, that's it.
Nice. So, yeah, I think we're definitely progressing on the CSS stuff, getting some more complex layouts, making use of grid template areas especially to give it named areas. Yeah, any questions on any of that? Can we give that a go next time, Ewan? Smash out some of those grid ones. Cool. Good. Thanks very much. How about Nilofer, Abdul? Any questions?
No.
All right. Well done, the win, Abdul, on beginner.
Cheers.
Yeah, good win. So next time you're going for the intermediate, yeah?
I don't even know my score. score. So what did I score?
Oh, you don't know your... Yeah, you missed that bit, right? So, what was it? Can anyone remember? 97, 98? 99.6 or something, really, really high. Yep,
Alright.
so very high on the beginner. Let's have a quick look. Is it that one? Yes. $99.2, Abdul. Yeah. So you came first. So very well done. So you beat Richard by 0.21.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, he says. Yeah, very well done. So next time, have a good crack at the intermediate as well. I was just gonna see if we could review any code from the intermediate and see if different people did it a few different ways or anyone got close. So I think was the issue with Ewan's on the first question that he used margin when it should have been the grid gap.
You know the arm centre question, align self didn't work.
Which question?
You know the centre box, like the arm centre. It didn't work. If I just specify align self centre, it didn't work. I was actually curious about that. It didn't work.
So you're saying on this one?
So if I just specify align self centre, that didn't work. No. So I don't know why it works on that one. It kind of, I hacked it.
Yeah, I like Richard's solution there. Please don't do that.
So specific. Yeah, so you have to specify both properties of justify self and align self. You have to.
Yeah, so make sure you justify both axes
Yeah.
as Vince is saying, yeah, use both of them. And then of course we had the text align center as well, right? So the text wasn't just floating at the top of that box as well.
Yeah, great. If I specify only align self,
Yeah,
that box will be on the will start from the first row. It won't be in the centre.
mhm.
Sorry, second row. Okay, second row. So you won't go to the centre basically.
Yep.
It'll be on the first column basically. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So without align self, it will be on the first column, yeah.
I don't know why it works on the wall.
Mhm. Who's having a good lunch? Is that you, Abdul, or you, Nalofa? They're not going to own up to it. Yeah, but I think Ewan's only problem here is with the margin rather than using the grid gap, because that would put it around the outside as well, wouldn't it, rather than just inside of the grid. Anyone else? All got that question right. Fantastic. Well done. Ewan. I don't think you just got far enough, did you, to adding the second class names, but now you know how to do that, yeah, to add the second class names into it. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Aeneas, what went wrong with this one? Why did you change the number of columns? You've changed the number of columns to 4. The centered one. Mm-hmm. So what else was wrong then? So the grid gap. Did it need a grid gap? No, I don't think so.
She didn't display grid.
Oh, yeah, display grid. So that would be the first thing missing. Yeah, so none of these things are going to apply. So you're probably messing around with it and thinking, why is nothing changing? Why is nothing changing? Well, yeah, first step, make sure everything is display grid. Well, the container is display grid, yeah. Other than that, I think you would have got very close. Yeah, I mean, you were changing some of these default values, I guess, just to see if anything would change. So if you left most of those default values there and then, yep, go for your display grid. And the key things were more in the actual box itself. How do we center the box? And then the last one. So I think the main thing Aeneas was missing in this one was the grid template areas. So you started to put them down here in a separate container here. So you'd already have a container once. So I don't know why you've created another one, but yeah, I would have still applied the styles. Yeah, so I think moving in the right direction, but maybe not enough time with that one. Yeah. Cool. And everyone else, very well done. We will try and sort out your score, Porrick. I will check Slack now after I stop recording on YouTube, and we'll see if we can get your score back. But well done, everyone.